Hello everyone, welcome to Str8 Legendary, the show where I talk about my creative projects and I help you with your creative projects. So today, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about this creative project, Str8 Legendary. So the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is because I've done a few episodes so far, and this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And I'm gonna tell you about why I decided to, just jump in and do it. One of the things that I do in my civilian life is I work as a freelance writer and a creative consultant. I have a lot of people that come to me to ask advice about writing, to ask advice about creativity, to ask me to help them with their projects, to consult on small creative projects, to consult on big creative projects. I even have people who come to me who may not necessarily be in the creative world, but they're looking for creative solutions for their project. So I get a lot of questions about how did I do it, right? And now, you don't know me as someone who has, these huge movies out there or huge books out there. I'm working on things that hopefully are in the works to become huge movies. And me and my writing partner, Chris, with the Creative Extreme, represent. We are in talks to, have different things produced. I have different independent projects, that I'm working on, that I'm consulting on. And my goal and my hope is one day that you will see the Creative Extreme and me and a lot of my creative partners out there with our stuff, making a huge impact on the world. But for now, I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. People, like I said, they come to me and they say, hey man, we need this project done. We're trying to create something. We're trying to write something and we just don't know where to begin. One of my main things is just helping the people find ways to get their project started so that they are not stalled out. Because a lot of the times what we do is we outthink ourselves. We say, I want to do this project, but I need this and I need this. And we make all the list of the things we need to do. While yes, preparation is good, knowing what you want to do is good, sometimes we can get lost in the weeds, we can get lost in the minutia of all the details and trying to figure out how we're going to make it happen. And what ends up happening is we get overwhelmed. We get so overwhelmed that we just sit back and then we don't do it. And that is a problem that a lot of us deal with, including myself. I really have these huge ambitions to make these incredible works that are costly and expensive and that millions of people will see. But then I realize that I have to take a step back and I have to take it step by step. It's use of the word, a lot of use of the word step right there, but you know what I'm saying. We can't let the overwhelming magnitude of that project, of that masterpiece that we want to create, stop us from getting started. Here's the thing that I had to tell myself, and this is gonna relate all back to Str8 Legendary in just a minute, but I had to tell myself that the first time I create something or the first time I jump in and begin working on something, it's not going to be the perfect masterpiece that I imagine in my head. As soon as I began to think about it in those terms, I began to get more confident about just jumping in and starting. So Str8 Legendary is something that I've wanted to do because, like I said, a lot of people ask me for advice about writing. So I wanted to create a show where I could give that advice, where if someone comes to me and asks, yes, I can talk to them, I can counsel them, I can consult. But at the same time, I can say, hey, check out the YouTube page, Str8 Legendary. This was a project that actually me and another creative friend of mine, Jamal, who you'll meet on the show very soon, he and we were thinking to ourselves, man, between the two of us and between us and a bunch of our other creative partners and people in our creative circle, we have a lot of projects going on and we have a lot of insights that we believe can help other people do their projects. We use a lot of different techniques, a lot of different, ways to think about things, a lot of mental exercises, and a lot of practical exercises that can take you from imagination and putting it on paper and making it an actual reality. And the biggest piece of advice that we can give is just stop overthinking it. Stop thinking to yourself, I can't do exactly what I imagine. Don't think of it that way. Do what you can. Even if you don't have all the resources, even if you don't have all the know-how, even if you don't know how it's gonna turn out, you should just jump in and do it. So that's where Str8 Legendary came from. That's how this relates back to Str8 Legendary. I wanted to do this show that was giving people advice, but I kept putting it off because I was like, I don't have the right camera. I don't know how it's gonna look. I don't know what the format's gonna look like. I don't know when I'm gonna record, how I'm gonna do it with all the other things I have going on, and my family, and my different projects that I'm working on, and different clients who I'm working with. And so all these things kept pushing it off. And then even my friend Jamal and I, we even tried jumping in front of the camera and doing a few episodes, and it just didn't feel right, you know? And so we kind of got, I would say, for a lack of a better word, we got a little discouraged. And so we said, we will try something else. We kept working on our other creative projects and things like that, and we, of course, kept in contact. But we stopped doing Str8 Legendary, even though we thought that we did have some really cool and fun stuff to share. And even if it wasn't totally valuable and didn't totally help you in your creative project, at least you could have a fun time listening to us talk about some of the creative projects we have, some of the pitfalls we found, some of the victories we've had, and just the idea of jumping into creativity, whether you're ready or not. And that's where Str8 Legendary comes from. I decided that, listen, I could sit here and think about all the different ways I want to do Str8 Legendary and all the different things I want to talk about and the way I want to do it and the way I want it to look. But at the end of the day, I have to jump in and just do it. And so you've seen the first few episodes, and I think they came out really well. But at the same time, I look at them and I'm like, man, there's a lot of things that I would love to change. There's a lot of things, I could take notes and learn from the different things that are happening in the episodes and kind of figure out new ways to do it, like not use the word things so much or not ramble so much, which ironically this whole episode is pretty much me rambling. But I'm hoping that I'm telling you some things that are helpful to you, just as I recount my experience with starting up this YouTube channel and this show. So yes, that first episode that I shot, that really literally came from my friend Corey calling me up and saying, hey, I really want to talk to my students about writing because some of them are struggling. So I said, I'd love to help you with that. And he said, could you make a video where you talk about different, aspects of writing and give some clues and some hints? And I thought to myself, that'd be a great opportunity to start doing Str8 Legendary, because yes, I did want to make a video about giving some tips and hints about getting started in writing, even when you're young or even when you don't exactly know what you want to do or how you want to do it. I can give some tips, some prompts, some ideas that could just get people started. And I thought to myself, this is a perfect opportunity to just jump in and start shooting episodes of Str8 Legendary, because I didn't want it to be something that only my friend Corey's class would be able to use as inspiration or as a way to get started. I wanted it to be something that I could share with a lot more people, or maybe it'll be a little bit more people. But I'm hoping that a lot of people can jump on this can jump on this channel and just get inspired. So we shot the episode. As I said, I think it came out well. I had a great time shooting with Corey. But at the same time, I looked at it and I said, man, I think I could do some things better. I think that I can, ramble a little less, or I can maybe angle the camera a little bit differently, or light things a little bit differently, or center myself a little differently. So the next episode, that I shot with my wife, I tried a few different things, and the way I interviewed her and the way we talked, and and that came out well. If you'll notice that episode, the quality of the camera is the quality of the video is a little bit less because we didn't have one of the DSLR cameras. We just used my cell phone, which is something that I really want to encourage people, is that even if you don't have the best equipment, just go for it. And that day we didn't have the best equipment, so we shot with my cell phone and we still got an episode out. We still did an episode. The next episode was also shot with my cell phone with Mr. Nick, who is an amazing filmmaker. Nick is, someone who is up and coming. Watch out for him. One day you're going to see his name in lights, and I look forward to working with him on some of the film projects that I'm working on. but that was also shot with a cell phone. And we could have easily said, we don't have one of the more professional grade cameras. Let's just not do it. And that would have been 2 episodes that we didn't shoot because we didn't have the perfect camera. But I wanted to take my own advice and say, even if you don't have the most optimal equipment, the most optimal circumstances, you just gotta do it, and you live with the results. You take notes about what you did. You try to prepare a little bit more next time, but you keep shooting, you keep making content regardless of the circumstance. That's the important thing, because what happens is you learn something every time you make something. So keep that in mind. You learn something every time you make something. You will get better. You will do things differently and a little bit better each time. That's the key. We learn on the job when it comes to this creative stuff. If you are writing a novel and you've never written anything else before, stop writing that novel and write something smaller first. That's how you're going to begin to create the rhythm, the repetitions that when you're writing something longer, you're going to be able to go with. I mean, this is a topic that I want to jump into in more depth in an episode that's dedicated to it. But you can't make a masterpiece if you've never made a piece. You know what I mean? I mean, if someone is trying to make a cake that they've seen on Nailed It, or like a 3-layer amazing cake, that can't be the first cake they've ever made. They have to start with a pound cake or something smaller that has less ingredients and takes less skill, because that's how you're gonna learn. You cannot build these complicated equations until you know that 1 + 1 is 2, okay? So that's what I'm doing. I honestly don't have a whole lot of experience vlogging. This is my first official vlog, just straight legendary. And it's come together because of the ideas and the help of a lot of incredible creative people. And I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking the creativity and the ideas and all this amazing inspiration that I'm surrounded by that helps me to keep creating the things that I'm making. And I didn't want to take it and have it go to waste. I wanted to be able to share it with as many people as possible. I don't know how many people are going to see this video. I don't know how many people are going to eventually end up following Str8 Legendary. But the idea is that if you have found our channel, and if you have found Str8 Legendary, and if you have found these videos, I really, truly hope that they are helping you to be inspired to create regardless of your circumstance. Stop waiting for the perfect circumstance. Stop waiting for the optimal opportunity. Just jump in there and start creating. You're gonna make mistakes. You are gonna mess up. You're gonna get better. You're gonna get critiqued. There are gonna be people out there who are gonna say, man, I didn't really like that, or man, you should do this, or you should try that. Constructive criticism is amazing. Take it. Maybe you won't use all the criticism people get. Maybe there'll be people who just straight up hate you. If you are gonna be a creator and you're gonna put stuff out there for people to see, guess what? Not everybody's gonna like it. So if you're scared of criticism, if you're scared of people hating what you do, if you are scared of backlash, if you're scared of pissing people off or making people upset with what you write or what you create or what you make or what you do, then you're not ready to be a creator yet. Okay? So maybe that's the first thing. Maybe I have to rewind this all the way back and say the first thing you need to know is that if you want to be a creator, if you want to put out books, if you want to put out movies, if you want to put out songs, if you want to put out blogs, if you want to put out anything that you pour your creative heart and life into, you have to be ready to take some shots. It's gonna happen. People are gonna take shots at you. They're gonna be people who don't like what you do. They're gonna be people who just straight up hate what you do. If you're not ready to feel that, if you're not ready to take those feelings and figure out how to work through them, then you're not ready to create yet. So if you're coming to me and you're talking, man, I'm ready, I'm gonna put myself out there, this is gonna be amazing, everybody's gonna love it, oh, it's gonna be great, and you're not ready to know that not everybody's gonna love it, then you need to recalibrate, you need to get ready, okay? Which is another reason why I often tell people your masterpiece, the work that you are so in love with, your passion project, don't make it your first project. Do some other smaller projects, more manageable projects that you can flex your muscles a little bit, that you can work on your skills a little bit. Work on those projects first. Field all of the critique that you're gonna get. The people who are gonna be like, oh man, this is amazing, I love it. And the people who are gonna be like, I think it could be better, you know? Do it on a smaller scale before you do it on a bigger scale, okay? You gotta handle the small stuff before you're ready to handle the big stuff. And again, bringing it all full circle, that's what Str8 Legendary is all about. Str8 Legendary is something that I jumped into that I don't know how it's gonna come out. I'm hoping that it helps people, but I know that every time I shoot an episode of Str8 Legendary, it's gonna get better and better. We're gonna play with the format. We're gonna switch things up. I'm gonna take your criticisms. I'm gonna take your pointers, and I'm gonna hopefully use those to give you a better show, a better product. Okay? The guests have all been amazing. I talked about the first 3 episodes, and we did the 4th episode with Megan Lynn Rose, and even that episode, as we were talking about it and getting into it, I spoke to her about some of the things that I'm trying to improve from the first 3 episodes. And when we got on, and she was an amazing guest, and just even talking to her before the show started and after the show, I learned so many more things about how we could make the show better, how we could be more efficient, how we could be just, you know, better at getting the information across. So this episode, yes, it was a little bit of a rambler, but I hope that it helps you out. I hope that it gives you some information. I hope it inspires you. I hope that you are I hope that if you are someone who wants to create something, that you will stop making excuses about what you don't have, about what you can't do, and then just jump out there and do it. Even if it's not your masterpiece, especially if it's not your masterpiece, start with something small. Start with something manageable. Write a short story. Write a short song. Do a short blog. Content is content. There is no rule about how long it has to be or how short it has to be. If you have an idea and you want to put it out there and it's the length of a Facebook post, you know, a short Facebook post. I know Facebook posts can get really long too. But if you want to say, think about this. Your Facebook posts are content. Like, that's what it is. Your Instagram is content. Your Twitter is content. That's content. So if you're already posting stuff to social media, you are already creating content. Get out there and make it happen. So if you just need to create like a formal blog or a separate Facebook page, like just get out there and do it. Start putting your content out there. If you're a photographer, take pictures and share them. It's great. Get critique. Create a blog or a website or a Facebook page. It's free to create a Facebook page. If you don't know anything about web design and you don't want to create a website, you can create a Facebook page. That's for your business or for your blog or for your photos or for your stories or for your short films or for the videos you make with your friends. You know, all these different things. You guys might be familiar with things like College Humor or The Onion, or, you know, they have websites, but a lot of them also, I only see stuff from College Humor and The Onion through Facebook. I barely go to their websites. So you can actually have your social media presence be your work. Now, the other thing you're gonna get, and I know this video is already going on a little bit long, but I want to share this stuff with you. So the other thing that you can do, the other thing that you have to realize is that if you release something and it doesn't get that many views, that's not a reason to give up, okay? If you post something and you only have 2 or 3 people read it, or you only get a couple of likes on it, that is not a reason to stop. I don't know how many views all the Str8 Legendary videos have so far. But whatever they do have, it doesn't matter, because I'm gonna create content. I'm gonna keep creating content. Okay, so there's a perfect example. I rambled for so long that the memory card on the camera went out. So obviously I have to prepare next time. So I will take notes and I will set a timer next time, because I know this video is already insanely long. If you've gotten to this part of the video, thank you so much for listening. But I just really want to emphasize, before my memory card runs out again, I had to take it out, I had to dump it onto my computer, and then I had to come back because I couldn't leave the video off where it was. But basically, if you're still listening to this, that's a perfect example. Like I said, even if you're not 100% fully prepared, even if you're not fully 100% ready to go and have everything you think you're gonna need and know everything you think you need to know, go and start making, because that's how we learn. We learn from making, and we learn from making mistakes, especially in the creative world. So I want to encourage you, get out there, make something. If you want to ask me specific questions, feel free to email me, drop a line to the Facebook page or the YouTube page if you have specific questions. Actually, I do want to let you guys know that I will be answering specific questions on air. So if you have a specific question about something in creativity or in writing or in just in general in creative consulting, hit me up and hopefully I can answer that question right here on the Str8 Legendary Show, and we can help many people by answering your question. If you want to hit me up for personal creative consulting, we can do that too. It is I do charge for official creative consulting and everything, so we could talk about that. We negotiate price, but that's a whole nother episode where that I plan to talk about is, if you are a freelance creator, how do you monetize what you're trying to do? It's a very involved, complicated question. A lot of people have spoken about it, a lot of people have opinions about it, but we're going to jump on that in another time, and we're going to talk about it, and hopefully I'll be able to give you some advice about that coming up. But again, I'm rambling, so these will be some notes that I take after I shoot this episode. Hey, Steph, don't ramble so much, and hey, make sure there's enough room on your memory card whenever you are filming. I don't know why I'm talking like a robot or whatever I was talking about right there. But anyway, so I do have to eventually stop shooting this episode because, yes, I have some creative work that I need to do and that I want to do. Before I go, I just want to remind you guys, check out my website, www.steffonthomas.com. At that website, you can see my rates for creative consulting. You can also buy my children's book, How I Met My Robot, and also you can see some of the other things that I have worked on in the past and that I'm working on now. I also want to remind you to go to www.thecreativeextreme.com. That is the company, like I said, my friend Chris and I started, and that we worked with a bunch of creative people to bring a ton of creative work and creative content to you. We have characters, we have stories, we have merchandise, we have Creative Extreme shirts, and then we also have our books. So our graphic novel, Alpha Initiative Zero, written by my boy Christopher Ikpo and illustrated by Trey McCoy and Jeff West for Art Dive Studio, edited by myself. It's an amazing graphic novel, 76 pages. Check it out. You can find it in the merchandise section of thecreativeextreme.com. Then we also have our platinum editions of our books. We have Platinum Edition Volume 1 and Platinum Edition Volume 2. And basically what these are anthologies of the characters we created. In 2016, as you may know that I've mentioned in several other episodes, we did a project called Project 365. We created one character for every single day of the year. During that time, we had one image of the character drawn by an amazing team of freelance artists that I met on the internet all throughout the world. And Chris and I also wrote stories for every character, and those stories build on top of each other. There is a saga that goes from January 1st to December 31st. Volume 1 is our expanded edition of those stories. You can find all 365 characters on our website, and you can find their stories. But in the Platinum editions, which you can only get in print, we have expanded stories, all the characters from January with new images for some of the characters. And like I said, the story is expanded. It's more in depth. There's more texture, more layers to it in these books. So this is January, and then of course we have the February book, which also has the same thing: expanded stories, more images, new characters. Not new characters, all the characters, but it has new images of the characters, expanded stories, and we also have comic strips in these books, both in Volume 1 and Volume 2. There are comic strips that you can only get in the volume. So go to our website, www.thecreativeextreme.com, and go to the merchandise section and get your copy, order your copy today. I think that's gonna be all. Again, I wanna remind you, create, put stuff out there, let people see your stuff. Trust me, we can talk about this in another episode too, but there's not as many people out there stealing content as you think. So if you're scared to put your story out there, or you're scared to put your image out there because someone might steal it, it's not as big of a thing as you think it is, okay? So put your stuff out there. Let people read your stuff. Let people critique it. Let people love it. Let people hate it. It's okay. Critique and constructive criticism is a huge part of the creative process, and it's a huge part of learning. And that's what we're trying to do here. Learn how to create, learn how to get your stuff out, learn how to feel comfortable with having your stuff out to the world. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Str8 Legendary. I'm Steffon Thomas. Imagination without limitation is the only expectation. Catch you next time.